sir.
Good morning, students, and good morning, all the viewers. This is Muhammad Riazuddin, Principal Telangana Model School, Jarasangam from Sangareddy district. Now we have the webinar session on commerce and accountancy. The topic is consignment. This is a first session and introductory session handled by V. Premlata, PGT Commerce from Telangana Model School, Bollaram, Jinnaram Mandal, Sangareddy district. And she possesses the academic qualification of MCom BEd. Presently, she is working as a PGT Commerce at Telangana Model School, Bollaram, Jinnaram Mandal since 2013. Before this, she worked at Kanwal Bharati Public School, New Delhi, and also at Rao's High School. She also worked at Brahmaya and Company and also at Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Public School, Jubilee Hills. Overall, she has the 17 years of teaching experience in commerce and accountancy. So I request the students to listen the session carefully and make the note for the important points. Now I invite V. Premlata Madam to deliver his teaching experience here on the topic consignment. Over to Premlata Madam. Premlata Madam, please.
Yes, sir. Good morning, all the principal ma'ams, students. Very good morning, children. I am V. Premlata, PGT Commerce, working at TSMS Bollaram, Jinnaram Mandal, Sangareddy district. Children, today we will be discussing about Unit 2, Chapter 3, Consignment Accounts for Inter second year students. This is very important chapter, and the weightage for this chapter in the exams is for 10 marks. You will be getting 10 marks problem in this from this chapter. Okay, in this chapter, children, we will be learning about meaning and need for consignment, important terms in consignment, features of consignment, difference between consignment and sale, and books of consignor, that is how to do the accounting in the books of consignor as well as in the books of consignee, and valuation of unsold stock, loss of stock, and practical problems in this chapter. But in this session, we will be discussing till difference between consignment and sale. Now, already children, you have studied about business in the first year. What is business? What are the features of business and everything? Now, can you tell me what is the feature of a business? Why anybody like a businessman, a trader, or a manufacturer, why they do business? What is the main objective of doing business? Yes? Anybody? The main objective of doing business is to earn profits. See, this is one of the main objective of doing any business. If you don't earn profits, then there is no meaning of doing any business. Okay. See, if I want to earn more and more profit, then what I need to increase? What I need to increase? If my profits need to be more, I need to increase my sales. If my sales are more, then automatically my production will increase. Automatically my earnings will also increase. If my earnings are more, that is the purpose served for what I have started the business. Okay. Now, let us say I have a capacity, like, or the businessman, or here the manufacturer or the trader has a capacity of producing 1000 unit of goods. Okay. But he can sell only 600 units of goods. Okay. Now, if at all he wants to increase sales, he need to sell more. Even after having capacity, if he is not having more sales, he cannot produce any goods, because the other goods will be lying idle in the godown, or it will be loss for him. So if at all he wants to increase his production, then he need to increase his sales. Now, if he need to increase his sales, what he need to increase? Now, what he should do? He should increase his sales. Then he need to have more and more buyers. Yes, if buyers are more, then his sales will be increasing. Then he can increase his capacity. Now, let us say the businessman or the manufacturer or trader, he is in Hyderabad. He is Mr. H, who resides in Hyderabad and does business in Hyderabad. Now, after doing business in Hyderabad, he has limited customers, like let us say 600 customers he is having in Hyderabad. Now, if he want to increase his sales, now he can't sell more than this in Hyderabad. Then what he need to do? He need to move out of Hyderabad. That is, he need to increase his territory. His territory need to be increased. that means he should go out of Hyderabad. It could be next town, it could be next city, or it could be any other country, anywhere. The territory should be increased. That means he need to sell the goods other than Hyderabad. It could be, let us say here example, he can sell in Secunderabad, he can sell in Medak, he can sell in Mumbai or in other country, Nepal. Let us say it is an example. Now he can sell in these different places. If when he sell in these different places, if he has more buyers in these places, definitely his sales will be increasing. If sales are increased, his capacity will increase and he can earn more and more profits. Now, one thing what you need to remember here, Mr. H of Hyderabad is doing business in Hyderabad. Already he has a well-established business in Hyderabad. Now this person, if he want to sell goods in these different places, he has three options with him. Let us say he has three options with him. Now, first option, he can sell the goods personally. He can set up a branch in that particular area, or he can appoint an agent. Now, if at all he wants to sell these goods personally in the other regions, let us say this businessman already is having business in Hyderabad. He has to look after the business in Hyderabad. Yes. Now, is it possible for him to sell the goods going personally and selling the goods in Secunderabad, selling the goods in Medak or Mumbai or to other country, selling the goods? It will be possible for him? No, it becomes very difficult for him. He cannot manage. So this option is not the option for him. He cannot sell personally. Okay, now let us take the second option where he can open a branch at Secunderabad, at Medak or Mumbai or Nepal. This is a good option. Okay, opening a branch in other areas and doing business is a good option. But opening a branch comes with a lot of investment. Yes, infrastructure investment we have to do. It is not easy to set up a branch in other areas. Like if you're setting up a branch there, you need to invest a lot of amount, and that too, he doesn't know anything about the market. Let us say if that product is very much new in the market, he doesn't know anything about the market. He doesn't know the marketing strategies. He is very much new to that particular place. He does not know the local people there. Then what he should do? He cannot open a branch immediately. It comes with a lot of expenditure. Then the third option, so it is a good option, but he can't go for this option. Now the third option is appointing an agent. Now appointing an agent in Secunderabad, appointing an agent in Medak, appointing an agent in Mumbai, appointing an agent in Nepal. Do you think it will be easy for him? The local people who are very good in doing business in that particular area, who know the business strategies, who are very much familiar with the customers, then this agent, appointing an agent who is a local person, is easy for the businessman to do the business with these agents. Then what he can do? He can appoint agents in this particular area and sell the goods. Now he can send the goods to agent and agent will sell the goods in this area. Do you think this will be easy for Mr. H? Yes. This option will be the best option for Mr. H, appointing an agent and doing business. Okay. Now, Mr. H of Hyderabad, let us say an example, will be appointing an agent, Mr. M of Mumbai. In Mumbai, he will be appointing an agent. In Secunderabad, Medak, Nepal also, he will have his own agents. Example, Mr. M of Mumbai, he is appointing an agent. Now, he will send the goods to agent and agent will sell the goods on behalf of Mr. M. This will be the best option for Mr. H. Now, after understanding this, children, can you tell me one word definition for consignment? One word. To consign means to send. To consign means to send. Only one word. Initial. In depth we will learn. Step by step we will learn, children. So to consign means to send. Now when I told to send, that means there are two persons involved. One person sending the goods and the other person receiving the goods. So two people are involved here. One, the sender of the goods, and one, the receiver of the goods. Now Mr. H of Hyderabad, what he is sending? Will be sending goods to Mr. M of Mumbai. Okay, Mr. H of Hyderabad, what he is sending? He is sending goods for sale. For what purpose? For keeping them in godown or keeping them in a showcase? No, no. for selling purpose. Okay, what is the purpose of sending the goods to Mr. M of Mumbai? It is to sell the goods. Now, whatever goods we are sending is called as consignment. What is called, children? It is called as consignment. See, you would have heard like people talking or saying, no, our consignment didn't reach, or our consignment is in transport, or your consignment will reach within 2 or 3 days. Okay, what do you mean by consignment? Consignment means sending of goods for sale, or whatever goods we are sending, it is called as consignment also. Okay. Now, Mr. H is the sender of the goods. Mr. M of Mumbai is receiver of the goods. Now, Mr. M of Mumbai, after receiving the goods, what he will do? He will sell goods. Okay. He will sell goods on behalf of Mr. H. It's clear, no? Mr. M is sending the goods. Mr. H is sending the goods. Mr. M of Mumbai is receiving the goods and selling the goods in his local area. Like he is selling these goods in Mumbai. On behalf of Mr. H, he will be selling the goods. Okay. He will not purchase any goods from Mr. H. You need to remember this, and you should be very clear with this, children. Mr. M of Mumbai will not purchase goods from Mr. H of Hyderabad. What he will do? Just he will receive the goods from Mr. H of Hyderabad. Then he will sell these goods on behalf of Mr. H. It's clear till here? Now, why this Mr. M of Mumbai will be selling for Mr. H? What benefit he is going to get? Will he do any free service? No. No one will do any free service in business, especially in business. Then why Mr. M of Mumbai is going to sell goods of Mr. H of Hyderabad? What benefit he is going to get for doing this? Mr. M of Mumbai will sell goods for commission. For what? For commission. For selling the goods, taking goods from H and selling the goods on his behalf. What Mr. M is going to get? He is going to be paid commission. Who will pay this commission? The consignor, or Mr. H will be paying the commission. Okay. Now, why Mr. H is selling goods or sending goods for sale to Mumbai? It is to make profits. For what? To make profits. Okay. Now, after this, you should be in a position to tell me the meaning of consignment now. Yes. What do you mean by consignment, children? Now, the process of sending of goods. The process of sending of goods by one person to another person for sale is known as consignment. The process of sending of goods by one person to another person for sale is known as consignment. Is it clear, children? The sender is sending the goods, the receiver is receiving the goods, and the receiver is selling the goods on behalf of the sender, and he is selling for commission. And here the sender is making profits out of this consignment for the goods whatever he sent. Okay. Now, the person who is sending the goods is called as the consignor. He is the owner of the goods, and he is also called as the principal. Now, the person who is receiving the goods is called as consignee, or he is an agent. Now, the relationship between the consignor and the consignee is always principal and agent, because here he is only Mr. H is only the owner. The consignor only will be the owner of the goods, but consignee, he will only take goods from the consignor and sell. For this, he is going to get commission. Okay, children. Now, Mr. H of Hyderabad is sending goods to Mr. M of Mumbai. We have seen that. Now, what is this M of Mumbai will do after receiving the goods? He will sell these goods to the buyers, to the end users. Okay, in Mumbai. Now he is selling these goods to the customers in Mumbai. After selling the goods, he is going to receive the amount. Okay, what we call it? We call it as sale proceeds. The consignee is going to receive the sale proceeds from the buyers. After selling the goods, he is going to receive the sale proceeds. That is amount he is going to receive from the buyers. After receiving this amount, what he should do, the consignee? should give this amount back to consignor, no? He should give or not? Yes, he should pay back this amount, remit this amount to the consignor. Why he has to remit this amount? Because who is the owner of the goods? The consignor is the owner of the goods. Consignee is only an agent. He will receive the goods, he will sell, and whatever sale proceeds is going to receive, collect, he is going to remit that amount to the consignor. Is it clear, children? Are you able to follow? What is the process? The consignor will be sending the goods to the consignee. Who is the owner of the goods? Consignor is the owner of the goods. He is also the principal. He is also the owner. Now he is sending the goods to the consignee. Now what the consignee is doing? Consignee collects the goods and he will sell to the buyers, end users, that is customers. After selling, he will collect the amount. He will receive the sale proceeds. That sale proceeds, what he should do? He should remit that amount to the consignor. That means he has to give back that amount to the consignor. He has to remit it. Now, before remitting that amount, all the consignee's expenses, he will deduct. He will deduct his commission. Why he is working? He is working for commission. So he will deduct his commission. The balance amount, the net amount, he will be remitting to the consignor. The net proceeds will be remitted to the consignor. One thing. Now you can ask me, teacher, what are these expenses? Why they will incur any expense? Simple. He is staying in Hyderabad. Now he is staying in Mumbai. He is sending the goods. Do you think the goods will fly to Mr. M? The goods will fly and go? No. We need to incur some expenditure sending the goods to Mr. M. The consignor will be incurring some expenses to send the goods to consignee. Yes or no? Again, consignee also will incur some expenses to sell these goods to the buyer. It is not like that everything will come to our doorstep. Nothing will come to our doorstep, right? Only if courier is there, it will come to our doorstep. But anything other than that, what will happen? The goods will be coming to some other place. From there, you need to collect it. So the consignee has to send the goods to the buyer. Here also he will be incurring some expenses. So what this consignee will do after collecting all the sale proceeds, he will be deducting all the expenses and the balance net proceeds he will be remitting to the consignor. Is it clear, children, here? Okay. Now, can you tell me what is the need for this consignment account? What is the significance of having this consignment account? We have seen partnership, sole trading, and joint stock company accounts, or many different types of accounts. Then what is the significance of having this consignment accounts? Yes, children, need for consignment to increase sales, to expand our business, for expansion and for development, for growth. We need to have this consignment business, children. And not only expanding the business, other thing is even we should sustain in the market. Having one customer and retaining that customer is also very, very important. It should not be like one time one customer. Yes or no? You have to sustain in the market. You have to capture the market. For all this, the consignment plays an important role. Not only that, where the consignor is not able to go to the each and every place and sell the goods, but he need to know all the customers. He need to know the local markets. For this, he need to take the expertise, the skill of the consignee. Here, the consignee's role is very important because consignee is very much local to the market. The consignor can utilize his skills and improve his business. And ultimate is here, the consignor want more profit and the consignee want what he want? Commission. For what he is working all this? Commission. Now I have a doubt, children. Now whatever expenses the consignee is going to incur for like receiving the goods or sending selling the goods to the buyers, many expenses are incurred by the consignee. Now tell me, who should bear these expenses? Who should bear these expenses? Consignee will be paying or consignor will be paying? Who should pay? Who is the owner of the goods? Consignor is the owner of the goods. So who will be paying for these expenses? The consignor will be paying for all the expenses. That is the reason consignor, what the consignee is doing, he is deducting the expenses from the sale proceeds and remitting to consignor. Is it clear? After receiving the sale proceeds, collecting the amount from the buyer, selling, collecting the amount, he will deduct all his expenses, his commission, balance amount only he will be selling to the consignor. And in sometimes what happens in some situations, like consignor, what he will be doing, he will be taking advance from the consignor because lakhs of what the goods he is sending to consignor. So he will be taking some amount as advance from the consignor. So consignor, what he will do before giving amount to the consignor, even he will deduct his advance. Is it clear? The expenses. Now in detail we will see what are the expenses incurred by consignor. What are the different expenses incurred by the consignor? See children, the cost of material, that is our consignment. Whatever goods we are sending to the consignee is an expense for the consignor. Do you think these goods are going to come free of cost? No, no. He need to invest, he need to purchase the raw material, cost of production, many things are involved. Next, so the cost of material is also an expense for the consignor. Other than that, the consignor has to pack the goods. Yes or no? See, if you are purchasing something online, you purchase anything, any electronic good you are purchasing. As it is, the good will come to you. You'll receive it as it is. Yes, children, will it come as it is? No, no. It will be nicely packed depending upon the product. If it is a product which need to be handled with care, extra care will be taken to packing for packing that product. Yes or no? So even the consignor, before sending the goods, he need to do the packing. So packing cost is also involved. Okay. Other than that, loading charges. Now, simply the goods will not be placed in the vehicle. No, someone should lift the from the consignor premises place. The goods should be lifted into the vehicle. That is loading charges. The consignor need to pay the loading charges also. Okay. Then freight. After loading, if it is in different city, in different country, how the goods will be sent, tell me? Either it could be any three ways of transport, roadways, airways or waterways. Any of these ways, the goods will be sent. So these freight charges also need to be paid by the consignor only. He will incur such expenses. Okay. Other than that, the consignor need to pay taxes and duties for the product, whatever he is selling, he need to pay taxes to the government for selling the product. Okay. Now, see the picture, children. What you see in the picture? Okay. What you see? You see a vehicle, here a ship, here a vehicle. What happened here? You see, accident happened. Okay. There is a lot of loss of the goods. Okay. Now, you already studied the main feature as another feature of having business is there is a lot of uncertainty. What happens next, we don't know. Or so many unexpected things happen in business. Okay. That is the reason the owner will be getting reward. That is only profit. Okay. Now we are sending goods in transport. No. Now anything can happen. Any unexpected thing can happen when we are sending goods on transport. Accidents may happen. There will be loss of the goods. Then who should bear this loss? The consignor only, no? If such losses happen frequently or even once also, it will be a very big loss for the consignor. Then what he need to do? How he can secure this loss? Yes, he need to do insurance. Yes, the consignor need to do insurance. This is called transit insurance. What do you mean by transit insurance, children? Any insurance made for the goods which are on transit, that is on moving, on road. So the insurance what we do for the goods which are on transit, it is called as transit insurance. So by taking this insurance, the risk is covered. Okay, for the goods, for the materials, what we are sending on transit, the risk will be covered by the insurance company. So anything happens, unexpected thing happens, who will pay for this? Then the insurance company will be paying for this. Okay. So these are the different types of expenses which are incurred by the consignor at his end. Now, what are the expenses which are incurred at consignee's end? We will discuss. Okay. Consignee, what different types of expenses are incurred by the consignee? Okay. Unloading expenses. Now, the consignor is sending the goods are loaded. Now, what after receiving the goods, what the consignee should do? He should unload them. So these are the expenses incurred at consignee side, at consignee's end. Okay. Next, here also the consignee need to pay for the freight, and he had to pay custom duty. Now, what do you mean by custom duty? Tax imposed on imports and exports of goods is called as custom duty. Now we have already we have seen, no, the agent can be in any place. It can be in other country also. Then for that agent, it will be an import. Then he need to pay the custom duty. Okay, so he need to pay the custom duty. So what is custom duty? Tax imposed on imports and exports of goods. Other than that, he need to pay the local tax called as octroi. Octroi also need to be paid by the consignee. It is nothing but a local tax on various goods brought into a town. Like you are purchasing goods from one state to other state. Okay, when the goods enter this state, they need to pay a local tax. That is nothing but octroi. And he need to pay even the dock dues. Now, what do you mean by dock, children? Dock. It is a place where in a harbor. It is a place in a harbor where loading and unloading of goods is done. Loading and unloading of goods is done. Now, if you are sending goods to waterways, okay, they are transported by ship. They need to reach to the dock. In the dock, the goods are unloaded. Here, the consignee need to pay the dock dues for payment made for the passing of goods. Okay, this also expenses incurred at the consignee's end. Okay, other than that, the consignee need to pay the carriage to this place. Now, from the dock, let us say from the dock, the goods need to be transported to the consignee's premises. Till his go down, the goods should move. How they will move then? Again, he need to hire a transport. So this is carriage. Okay, so carriage up till his place is also the expense incurred by the consignee. Other than all these expenses, the consignee will be incurring administrative, selling, and distribution expenses also, like go down rent, go down insurance, salary to salesman, advertisement charges, selling expenses, salesman commission. Okay, children, once have a look in detail. Again, we will see in the next slide. Now you got the difference, no? Understood what are the expenses incurred at the consignor's end and the expenses incurred at the consignee's end. Okay. Now, expenses incurred by both consignor and consignee. Now, in detail, we will understand. This is a consignor premises. From consignor premises, the consignor is sending goods. To whom he is sending? He is sending to consignee. To send these goods, the consignor is incurring some expenses. Already we have seen with pictures. These are all the different types of expenses what the consignor is going to incur when he is sending the goods. The consignee, until the goods are reached till his premises. Let us say this is consignee's premises. Till the goods are reached till his premises, the consignee is going to incur all the expenses. Okay. Then what the consignee need to do? The consignee had to incur all the whatever expenses he is incurring till he is reaching the his premises. All expenses are called as recurring expenses, children. Okay, they are called as non-recurring expenses, and the expenses which occur at his go down are called as recurring expenses. Okay, children. Now the important terms. After understanding that, now you need to understand what are the important terms in consignment. What do you mean by consignment, children? Goods sent by consignor to a consignee for purpose of sale on commission basis is called as consignment. Okay, consignment means good sent by a consignor to a consignee for the purpose of sale on commission basis is called as consignment. Is it clear? What do you mean by consignment? What happens in consignment? The consignor will be sending goods to consignee. For what purpose he is sending? For sale. Okay. Now, define consignor. Who is a consignor? Who is a consignor? The person who sends goods to the agent for sale on commission basis is called the consignor. That means consignor is a person who will send the goods. Okay. The person who sends goods to the agent for sale on commission basis is called as a consignor. Now, who is a consignee? Consignee is an agent who sells the goods on commission basis on behalf of the consignor. So, who is the consignee? Consignor will be sending the goods, consignee will be receiving the goods, and he will be selling the goods on behalf of the consignor. Okay. Now, for what purpose he is doing all this? What benefit he is going to get the consignee? The consignee is going to receive the what? What he is going to receive? He is going to receive commission. Okay. What do you mean by commission then? Commission is the amount payable to consignee for selling the goods. The commission is of 3 types. Okay. This is the amount payable to consignee for selling the goods, and the commission is of 3 types. One is ordinary commission. What do you mean by ordinary commission? It is generally paid as a percentage on sales. It doesn't cover the risk of bad debts. Now, whatever sales the consignee is going to make, on that sales, a set percentage is given as commission to the consignee. Will be given by consignor to the consignee. Commission. Okay. Now, let us say the consignee is selling 1 lakh worth of goods. Okay, the consignee is selling 1 lakh worth of goods to the customers. Now, the consignor is giving 5% commission. How much percent? 5%. Now, how much commission will be paid to consignee? How much? 1 lakh. On 1 lakh, 5%. How much commission will be paid? It is 5,000 rupees. Is it clear? Simple. Whatever sales he is going to make, on that commission will be charged for set percentage. Okay, whatever percentage they decide, that much amount will be paid as commission to the consignee. Okay, next we have del creditor commission. What is this commission then? It is an additional commission given to the consignee to cover the loss due to bad debts. Okay, now first we will understand what is a bad debt. What is a bad debt? Bad debt means a debt that cannot be recovered. When this concept arises, like bad debt concept arises, children, let us say we all know total sales is equal to cash sales plus credit sales. In business, credit is inevitable. That means you need to give on credit. Whatever sales are done should be either it will be on cash or it will be on credit. If you say only I will sell on cash, means credits, we cannot increase our sales. We have to give on credit also. Okay. Now, when you are selling something on credit, definitely there is a risk of bad debt. I am selling to the customer. If that customer is not going to pay back that amount, then who is going to bear that loss? Now, you all should remember here the consignor will be in some place, consignee is in some other place, and these customers are local of that particular place. For example, let us say here Mr. H is in Hyderabad and Mr. M is in Mumbai. He has customers in Mumbai. That customers in Mumbai are not giving the amount after taking the goods. Then who should bear that loss? Is it consignor or the consignee? Who is the owner of the goods here? Consignor is the owner of the goods. Then the loss will be for consignor only. Yes or no? Then for this, what the consignor will do is he will give an additional commission to the consignee. When this commission is given to the consignee, what he will do? The risk is transferred to the consignee. It becomes the responsibility of the consignee to collect the bad debts. Is it clear? For this purpose, the consignor gives a special commission called as del creditor commission. Okay, what is del creditor commission? Why I am stressing more on this, children? It is very important topic. Always frequently asked in exam for 2 months. Is it clear? Del creditor commission. It is additional commission given to the consignee to cover the risk of loss due to bad debts. Is it clear? That means he will be given ordinary commission plus del creditor commission. If del creditor commission is given, who will take the responsibility of collecting the dues from the customers, creditors? It is the consignee. Now, the third type of commission is overriding commission. Now, what is this overriding commission? It is an extra commission granted when the consignor wants his agent to put extra hard work to increase the sales in case of new product. For example, if the consignee is introducing any new product in the market, see, if you are very much familiar with the product, everybody will purchase, no risk in that. But if you are introducing any new market into the a new product into the market, it becomes very difficult. Like you need to attract the customers. Then what? The extra efforts will be put by the agent. He need to do extra homework. He need to do extra effort. Then for doing this, the consignor will be paying extra commission, that is overriding commission to the consignee. Not only introducing new market. Sometimes what happens, in one locality only there will be many agents. So one agent will be looking after all other agents. In such case also the agent will be having lot of work to do, much work. Then the consignor will be giving this overriding commission. Is it clear, children? What is ordinary commission? It is only paid on the percentage paid on the sales, total sales. Now what is del credit commission? It is an additional commission given to consignee to take the responsibility for the risk of loss due to bad debts. Okay, next, overriding commission, for extra work he is putting, the consignor is going to pay him for this overriding commission. Okay, now loss of stock. Already we have seen, no, what type of loss we are going to have. When goods are sent on consignment, losses may occur to the goods or the stock, either in transit or after reaching to the consignee. Losses can be classified into two categories. See, when the goods are moving, when they are on road, on transit, any unexpected thing can happen. Okay, so what we discussed in that slide, that is the reason the consignor is going to insure the goods, insure for the goods. Now, after reaching to the consignee's premises, also in the godown, there may be a theft or there can be loss due to or damage due to fire. Then what will happen? The loss will be occurring there also. So this losses are of two types. One is normal loss, the loss which is unavoidable, natural, and is due to the inherent nature of the goods. Okay, the loss which is unavoidable, which is natural, and is due to inherent nature of goods is called as normal loss. Example, a portion of coal is lost while loading and unloading. Due to the inherent nature, means the nature of the good itself is like that, it is unavoidable. There will be loss. Other example, if you see petroleum products, if you are transporting petrol from one particular area to other particular area, what we see, the petroleum's nature, it is evaporated. No one can do anything for that. Or there will be a leakage. So such losses are unavoidable. And no one can stop that loss. So such losses are called as normal losses. Okay. Then abnormal loss. Now what is an abnormal loss? The loss which is occurred at unexpected level is called as an abnormal loss. Example, destruction of goods by fire, theft of goods, unforeseen incidents happening. See, like this, we can say this is a loss due to bad luck. Yes or no? This loss is bad luck. But this loss, we can avoid it. We can secure this loss. How we can secure this loss, children? If there is a fire accident, how you can secure that loss? By taking an insurance policy. So these losses can be secured. So losses are of two types. One is normal loss, which is unavoidable, which cannot be avoided. That means it will happen. No one can do anything. This is an abnormal loss, which is because of bad luck. It can be avoided by taking insurance policy. Okay. Next, account sales. Now, what is account sales? Now, the consignee sends the statement periodically to the consignor. This statement is called as account sales. It contains the particulars of sales effected, expenses incurred, commission charged, advance, whatever advance he has given, he will be deducting that advance, net amount or balance due. Whatever amount the net proceeds, that is balance amount is there, the consignee, he has to send a detailed statement. That statement itself is called as account sales. It's not like that he will just write on a piece of paper, okay, I have to give only this much amount to you. It's not like that, no. It should be a recorded statement. A periodic statement should be there. And this statement should be sent periodically to the consignor. Yes or no? So that statement which shows all the details, like how much sales are made, what are expenses incurred by him, what is his commission, if at all he has given any advance, of how much advance he has given, and how much net amount he has to remit. The information which shows all these details is called as an account sales. Okay. So consignee sends a statement periodically to the consignor. This statement is called as account sales. It contains the particulars of sales affected, expenses incurred, commission charged, advance, and net amount of balance due. Now we will see a specimen of account sales with an imaginary figure, children. How this account sales look like. Here, these are the gross proceeds, 30,000, sales made. Next, the expenses incurred are freight, insurance, warehouse charges, and the commission 1,500. That is total sales 30,000. On 5% commission he has incurred, charged 5% of commission, that is 1,500 is his commission. So after deducting all his expenses, he need to pay 26,700 to the consignor. Now even he has given 10,000 as advance also. So he will deduct his 10,000, then the balance amount he will remit to the consignor. This amount is net proceeds. This is gross sales. This is his expenses. This is his commission. And this amount is his advance. He will deduct all this, and the balance amount he will remit to the consignor. Is it clear, children? This is a specimen of account sales. Now, see, the consignee is sending account sales. Now, what the consignor will send to consignee then? It is called as pro forma invoice. Now, after this, from all the above explanation, now you should be in a position to tell me what are the features of consignment, children. Now, what are the features of consignment? The goods are sent by consignor to consignee for the purpose of sale. Yes or no? What happens in consignment? Goods are sent. Who is sending? Consignor is sending. Who is receiving? Consignee is receiving. What is the purpose of sale? What is the purpose here? For sale they are sending. Next, the unsold goods are the property of the consignor. Very important point. Now, the consignor is sending the goods. The consignee is receiving. Some part of the goods he is going to sell. Some part of the goods remain with him. Some goods remain with him. Then, who will be the owner of that remaining goods? Consignor or consignee? It is consignor only, because consignor only is the owner of the goods. Here, consignee, what he should do? The unsold stock, he should again return to the consignor. Here, the unsold stock with the consignee also will be in the inventory of the consignor. Is it clear? The unsold stock with the consignee is the inventory of the consignor. Okay. The consignee receives the commission on sales and gets his expenses reimbursed. What do you mean by reimbursement here? He is deducting the amount from the gross sales. He is deducting all his expenses. We have seen in the account pro forma of account sales. So that is nothing but reimbursing his amount. Okay. So the consignee receives the commission on sales, gets his expenses reimbursed. The consignee sends the account sales showing the details of sales, his or her expenses incurred, and commission charged. Okay. Even he should send the account sales. Then, if not, how the consignor will be knowing? Because consignor will be having many such consignments. So every consignment, that agent should send the account sales. What are the sales? How he deducted, how much amount he deducted as expenses, his commission, or what amount he has given as advance, and what is the net sales, net proceeds. All information should be given in the account sales. And not only that, the gross proceeds also should be remitted by the consignor to the consignor, by the consignor. Okay. Now we'll see what is the difference between consignment and sale. Now parties, what are the two parties in consignment and sale, children? What are the two parties called in consignment? Yes, they are two parties in consignment. We call them as consignor and consignee. The consignor, person who is sending the goods, and the consignee who is receiving the goods. Now, in sales, we have seller and buyer. Okay, in sales, we have seller and buyer. The ownership of goods. Now, do you think in consignment, ownership of goods is transferred from consignor to consignee? Yes, children? Ownership is transferred? No. In consignment, ownership of goods is not transferred from consignor to consignee. But in sales, ownership is transferred from seller to buyer. How we can say that? Best example, when you purchase anything in a showroom, if you are going to any cloth showroom or anything, what they'll put? No returns, no exchange. Why such notices are displayed? No return, no exchange. Once we are purchasing that product, we become the owner of that product. Yes or no? We become the owner of that product. So here, ownership is transferred immediately. We pay the bill, we receive the invoice. Yes or no? When we receive the invoice and we pay for that, we pay for the product, immediately the goods ownership is transferred. And one more point here I want to tell you, children, whenever ownership is transferred, along with ownership, even risk is also transferred. Is it clear? Along with ownership, what is transferred? Risk is also transferred. Okay, that is the reason in consignment, every risk is borne by the consignor only, not the consignee, because the owner of the goods here is consignor. Now, what is the relationship between consignor and consignee in consignment? Yes, children, it is of principal and agent. The relationship between the consignor and consignee is of principal and agent. In sales, the relationship between seller and buyer is of debtor and creditor. Okay. Now, account sales. Do you think, already we discussed in the previous slide, what is account sales? What is account sales? It is a periodic statement which is sent by consignee to the consignor, giving all the information about what are the gross proceeds, what are his expenses, and how much advance he has given, and what are the net proceeds. Okay. So in consignment, who will send the account sales? The consignee will send the account sales to the consignor in account sales. But in sales, buyer need not send the account sales to the seller. Okay. The buyer need not send the account sales to the seller. Return of goods. Now, do you think in consignment, goods unsold stock can be returned? Or do you think in sales, once we purchase anything can be returned? Yes? Yes, in consignment, the goods, the consignee returns the unsold stock to the consignor. Whatever unsold stock is with the consignee, that is the goods which are not sold, that stock should be returned by the consignee to the consignor. But in sales, the buyer cannot return the goods to the seller. Yes or no? The buyer cannot return the goods once they are sold, means gone, means sold. Ownership is transferred, risk is transferred. So we are not going to return it. Now, risk of loss of goods. Now, in consignment, who is going to bear the loss of risk of these goods? In consignment, if the goods are destroyed, the consignor has to bear the loss. But in sales, if the goods are destroyed after sale, the buyer has to bear the loss. After sales, who should bear the loss? The buyer should bear the loss. I'll just give an example for that. If I am purchasing, let us say, eggs from the shop, I have given money to the shopkeeper, the owner, the seller. I have taken goods into my hands. And the cover fell down. Let us imagine the cover fell down, slipped from the hand. Now, all the eggs are going to be broken, no? Now, who will bear that loss? Again, the seller will be giving 1 dozen eggs. He will give. What he will say? I gave to you, it is your risk. So you need to bear that loss. Is it clear, children? In sales, once the goods are sold, when we pay, when we take the bill, the risk is also transferred. Okay, even if the goods are destroyed, who will bear that loss? The buyer will bear that loss, not the seller. Now, profit and loss. In consignment, the profit or loss belongs to the consignor. Who is going to take the profits in consignment? Who will own all the profits? It is the consignor. It is a reward for the risk what he is taking. Yes or no? Consignee only acts as an agent. He is not the owner of the goods. But in sales, the profit or loss on sales belongs to the seller. Okay. Order or indent. In consignment, there is no need to give any order. There is no need to for any order from the consignee. But in sales, you need to have an order from the buyer to the seller. Now invoice. In consignment, the consignor prepares the pro forma of invoice, and in sales, the seller prepares the invoice. Okay. In sales, the invoice, you have all the information like what are the quantity of goods, what is their cost, and what are the taxes paid, and whatever amount is mentioned in the invoice, the buyer will pay that amount to the seller. Whatever amount is mentioned in the invoice, the buyer will be paying that amount to the seller. But in consignment, in the pro forma invoice, what information you will be having? You will be having what are the amount, quantity of goods sent, and what are the shipping details. Even shipping details will be mentioned in pro forma invoice. Then you will be having the cost or the price of the goods. The consignee has to sell the goods, whatever price is mentioned in the pro forma of invoice. That is the reason we call it as pro forma invoice price. Okay, that is called as pro forma invoice price. That means the consignee has to sell the goods on pro forma invoice price. Is it clear? Now got the difference between pro forma of invoice and invoice. Okay, this pro forma of invoice is sent by consignor to consignee. He will mention the cost of the goods for how much the consignee has to sell to the customer. Is it clear? That cost only we call it as pro forma invoice price. Okay. See children, whatever terminology we are using here, everything will come in problems. So you should be very much clear with the concepts. If you are very much clear with the concept, this will be one of the interesting chapters. Okay. So from all the discussions, and I hope children by the end of this session, you are in a position to understand the meaning and what is the need for consignment and all other important terms like who is a consignor, the person who is sending the goods, who is a consignee, the person who is receiving the goods, and what is commission. It is the percentage of amount paid for the consignee on the total sales. Okay, for commission only the consignee is working. No, so what is commission? And you have seen what is account sales. It is a statement, periodic statement sent by consignee to the consignor. And loss of stock. What are the two different types of losses we have seen, children? One is normal loss, which is unavoidable, and one is abnormal loss, which is of bad luck and which can be secured. And you have discussed about recurring and non-recurring expenses of consignor and consignee, children. This I didn't stress more on this point, children. But in the next session, when we are doing problems, when we solve valuation of unsold stock, definitely we will discuss more on this topic, recurring and non-recurring expenses of consignor and consignee, because it is very important. If you can make the difference, then only it will be easy for you to solve the problems. Okay, again we will repeat that topic. Next, features of consignment. Okay, even we discussed what are the different features of consignment and what is the difference between pro forma and invoice price and pro forma invoice price, and difference between consignment and sale. I hope you all understood, children. And task for the day: define consignment and how it differs from sale, and what is del credit commission. Just to make a note of what is consignment and what is difference between sale and consignment. These are important questions, examination point of view. And what is del credit commission? Okay, thank you, children. Stay home, stay safe, and stay productive, stay connected. Thank you.
Thank you, Premalata madam, for a wonderful session. And I thanks to all the viewers and the students also for watching the session. Thank you.
participants, stay tuned. We'll have mathematics session, the 50th session of the webinar series. Our additional director, Sri Satyanarayan Reddy Garu, will be addressing the session. Thank you all. Stay tuned. We'll be shortly live once again. Thank you all.